So
Look, Mom, I'm failing. Look, Mom, I'm failing. Look, Mom, I'm failing. Hurry up and watch me fall.
okay, here we go. What's going on, everyone? Sam McNeil here, coming to you with this week's episode of Look, Mum, I'm Failing, powered by Song Division, the podcast that brings together a seemingly unexpected duo, a full-time professional artist, whether that's a singer, songwriter, musician, journalist, comedian, and a business owner or leader, in the search of common themes and ways to endure and maybe even enjoy the process of failure. Like I said, I'm your host, Sam McNeil, General Manager of Song Division, vocal powerhouse, melodic genius, lyric writing prodigy, onstage pocket rocket, corporate facilitator to the stars, all-round enigma. That's all in the script. Sorry about that. I have to say it. This week, I'm joined by two legends in their own fields. Savill is currently touring with The Streets. She's a backing vocalist for 1,000,001 artists. When we met 11 years ago, she was on the road with Florence and the Machine. She's toured with Rag and Bone Man, worked with people like Sting, Dave Stewart from Eurythmics, Nile Rodgers, and everyone in between. Katherine West-Dargon is head of venues and partnerships at VenuFindr, which is part of asembl Group. VenuFindr offer access to the most prestigious, trendy, and luxurious venues, ensuring a perfect match for your vision. She's been in the industry for over 15 years. Katherine, Rue, how are you both?
Very good. Are you okay?
Yeah, really good, thanks.
Great. I really appreciate both your times today. Let's just dive straight in. We're not going to do full life story because we don't have time for that, but just talk to me about, we'll start with you, Katherine. When were you not working in events? And what made you make that leap to join? Was it MCI? I believe you started out at. What drove that leap? Was it just a job that popped up, or was there a passion for events at the time? Talk us through, not being an event professional to that first job with MCI, which you were there for a couple of years.
Yeah, so I've always loved events. I've always been organised. My friends would come to me I'd like hosting parties and things like that. Even when I was younger at university, I did a degree in business because from an entrepreneurial kind of background with my family. And then I did some working experience at the British Library in between uni in their events team. Loved it, loved that kind of buzz. And when I saw an opportunity to come up for MCI, I thought, why not? And interestingly, actually, there was roles for project managers and kind of the sourcing side, but they saw me more within the sourcing side of things. And I think because I loved traveling with my family, had some amazing holidays, so that love of travel, hotels was just there. And I loved sourcing venues.
Yeah.
So that's how it happened.
And has venues always been your passion? Because my wife, Kitty, she's in the events world, but it's always been venues for her. Yeah. She's always loved hotels, spaces. Is it the same with you?
Definitely. And I think you get those relationships with the hotels, the unique venues, the destinations. You have to be very quick and speedy with responses. Negotiating is a big part of it. I love that. And research, you've got to research. You've always researching. I'm always listening to podcasts, reading magazines, Condé Nast and all that kind of thing. So I'm on the top of my game, but I love the research side.
Yeah, right. Rooster, same question. We met 11 years ago, like I said, at the Sydney Opera House when you invited me to come along and see you and Florence and the Machine, but I'm assuming that it goes way back further than that. When was you were singing, I imagine, what was that first gig or first professional foray into session vocal work?
The first professional thing I did, it's quite a funny story actually. I won't go on about it for too long, but I basically I always wanted to be a footballer. I loved music. Music was always something that was in my family, that my parents were huge music lovers, always going to concerts, always playing records, loved music. I loved singing, but I kind of kept it on the down low because I was a bit shy about it. So I was sort of singing in my room and I was like, I feel like I can sing, but I don't really know. And football was always my thing. Anyway, I was like, I feel like as a child, decision-making is much more binary than as an adult. And it's either we have unusual ways of getting yes and no answers for things. And for me, I was like, I will know if I can sing or not if I apply to be on Junior Stars in Their Eyes quietly. And if I get on the show, it probably means I can sing. If I don't get on the show, I guess I can't. And that's just how black and white. And I was probably about 15, and I recorded a demo in my music room at lunchtime one day with the help of my music teacher and sent it off. And my mum didn't know, my dad didn't know. And then my mum picked me up from the bus stop one day and was like, there's a letter from ITV saying we've got to go to Manchester for an audition. And I was like, oh yeah. Oh, so I guess I might.
I guess I can sing.
And my mum was like, what?
and they'd never heard you sing. Like it wasn't something you did.
I'd done like local amateur dramatics where you're singing as part of an ensemble and stuff like that. But I wasn't like the kid that was like getting up at family parties and singing. I wasn't like I just wasn't that at all. I just wanted to play football. But I kind of thought I could sing, and I'd sing in like, school assembly with like groups of us would get up and like embarrassingly sing like a Steps or Spice Girls song or routine or whatever, but never like.
No, there was never this someone from your school going, hey, Rue's got something.
No, it was just always like me thinking, oh, I wonder. And I always I just kept coming back to it. And I feel like it's something that I've kept coming back to, that whole period from then until started going professionally started from that moment really of going, oh, actually, maybe I can.
I love it. Katherine, it looks like you've sort of woven your way in and out of assemble or assemble related businesses into events included in that for the last 10 years or so. What's the story there, or what's the why is that? Because you just before we went live, you said a term that I can't believe I've never heard, which is intrapreneur, which I absolutely love because I think that's what I am as well. But I'd never heard it. So just talk us through your relationship with Assemble and their various different brands.
Definitely. Well, this is the third time back. I'm one of your boomerangers, so this is the third time I'm back with Assemble. Never burn bridges. That's one lesson I've learned. But I kind of left a couple of times. Number one, I had children in between and all that kind of thing. And then I also wanted to go on different sides of the industry. And I think that's really made a big impact of where I am today. And it's really helped carve who I am and what I'm doing. So I went Hilton. So I went on property for a couple of years as a sales manager. That's where I grew to love I wanted that knowledge and experience of being at a hotel. I sourced venues globally, worked at different groups, hotels groups, from here to Marriott's, Accords, IHGs to independent. But I wanted that on-site experience to really understand, work with the revenue manager, the general manager, get to know more in depth about what they do and that kind of thing. So that helped massively, as well as kind of being with clients, which I loved. And then I came back to Assemble. I had my first daughter, my child, and so kind of went back part-time. It worked really well. Venue sourcing, I kind of jumped back into it and did it. And then had my twins, and then after that I went to Bellman for a couple of years, so kind of more of a global account manager with the luxury sector, which is another itch, like you were saying. I wanted to scratch. I wanted to know I can do this, and I loved it. And then Gavin said, I've got this opportunity, VenuFindr, heard about it, and I was like, this is definitely something that I'm about and my passion lies. But the fact that I had that experience on property and global account manager has really helped in what I do today. So it was meant to be.
Yeah, shout out to Gavin as well. And just quickly explain to the listeners what Assemble. It's a great name because it's become almost an assembly of partners and different brands. Just explain to people what that looks like, because there's how many people are in this collective now? Yeah,
it's grown quite a lot, and it's an amazing initiative. So it's different companies within the event industry that have come together to kind of form this great conglomerate, of Assemble. So we've got kind of obviously the Assemble agency. So we've got the project managers, on-site support. We've got AV, we've got exhibitions, we've got Logistkit, which helps with the logistics and merchandise. VenuFindr being obviously one of the business units that Assemble is a part of. So we can kind of share with our clients. We're not just one thing, we're everything. So as much or as little as they need, we can provide. And that's just it's just incredible. The clients have responded really well to that. And they love that service that we have for them.
Yeah. Well, what I like about it, that model is, I think everyone tries to be everything now, and there's a lot of agencies that will say we can do end-to-end management, registration, AV, theming, content, and not many of them actually can, and parts of the elements within that whole sphere of an event will fall short. Whereas what Assemble does is say we don't specifically do one thing. If it's venue related, it's VenuFindr. If it's X, it's X. So it is true partnership and leaning on people's skills and expertise for that element of the event, and not trying to be we can do everything.
Yeah, no, exactly. We're all specialists in our fields, and we can kind of turn to whoever's a specialist there and help our clients, which is fantastic.
Yeah, and I'm going to come back to that because I think that relates to having a support network as well. So Rooster, you get what's it called? Was it Stars in Their Eyes? Young Stars in Their Eyes.
I don't know if it's a thing in Australia, but it was a huge show for us in the UK. Normal people that will go, tonight, Matthew, I'm going to be Tracy Chapman or whatever, and then they walk through a door, and then they come back through it again, and they're dressed as them and perform it. And I love it. Like, you know, now we've got The Voice, X Factor, all these shows. You know, we only had Stars in Their Eyes back when I was young. There was the kids version, was the only one that was sort of obviously the only way if you find out if you can sing or not.
Yeah, but then what happened? I mean, I'm assuming that was there a prize, or I'm assuming that wasn't how did that lead to regular paid work?
Well, I got on the show, and I think that was then the first time that my family and we were sort of like, oh, you actually, like, where's this come from? You actually have something. So then I started getting more involved in doing bigger roles in like local productions. I started wanting to like sing in local pubs and things like that. As soon as I was working in a pub when I was like 16, sort of at weekends. And my landlord was very, very lovely and would like give me gigs on like a Friday night sometimes to just be in the corner with like backing tracks and stuff, singing to like 10 people that don't care, all smoking back in the days when you could smoke in pubs too. So that's really nice when you're singing. So I did that for a little while, and then I kind of knew what I wanted to do, but I didn't really know how you get there. Do you know what I mean? It's like I'm from a tiny, tiny village in the New Forest, and I had a few people that were friends of mine or sort of friends of friends that were doing session stuff, like as in like, you know, touring stuff. But I never really even thought about that as being something that would be obtainable. I was just like, wow, I want to do anything within that world, just whatever I can. If I can sing, I'll be absolutely thrilled. So I started doing like gigs locally, like I said. And then I had a very, very bad car accident, which meant I had to defer my placement for university. I was meant to go to university and study English. I wanted to be, you know, I wanted to do music, but I never really thought that was something I would actually be able to do as a full career. Do you know what I mean? I just wanted it to be in my life. This car accident ended up being in a big sort of, it's not a sob story. I wouldn't be doing what I was doing now, you know, what I'm doing now if it hadn't happened. But anyway, I ended up being like a big cast for about 11 months. And I couldn't really do much. Like I couldn't drive, I couldn't work, I deferred my uni placement. And in that time, my mum found a local recording studio in Southampton and would just drop me there and would like, I'd organise doing sessions there. And I got to know, like, to go and just start recording stuff that I'd written, stuff that I'd very badly like played one-handedly on the piano while my arm was up like that. And the engineer there was like, thought I had something, you know, had something about me, and then started getting me going, oh, why don't you come and sing with my band for this? Why don't you come and do this? And it was at a time then when like X Factor and shows like that were really huge, and we'd get a lot of the artists then coming and doing like a PA tour around Southampton. And this studio engineer was like, I can get you a support slot doing that. So then I started doing that. Then I sort of started getting asked to do those sorts of things more in London. And then I did a showcase night in London at Ronnie Scott's, upstairs in Ronnie Scott's, as an originals sort of night where it's like, you know, each act plays for like 20 minutes. And then afterwards, everyone just ended up having a bit of a lock-in, and there ended up just being a bit of a jam session that happened at Ronnie's. I didn't live in London at this point. I didn't know anyone in London. I just knew that I wanted to sort of be there. And this jam night just ended up happening quite organically, really. And it was great. And everyone just sort of got quite drunk and sung Stevie Wonder together, and it was lovely. And then the next day, I just emailed the club and was like, that jam that happened last night was really great. Why don't we try and do that as a regular thing? And I'll organise it, I'll host it. And they were like, yeah, okay, why not? And then everything stemmed from that. I ran that jam night for about 8 years, and I met, if I sort of traced where most gigs have now come from, it stems back.
It was that.
Most
Yeah.
relationships come back from just, a jam night that just organically happened at Ronnie's that ended up being such an integral part of my life.
I've been to that jam night. I've embarrassed myself at that jam night.
Definitely not.
Katherine, it's basically like a powerhouse session funk jazz hip hop guys, and I think I got up and did the Killers. It was pretty embarrassing.
This is great. Ronnie's got it's an amazing venue.
Just what they felt like playing, I'm sure.
We've had someone do Killing in the Name of there. You're fine, honestly.
No, very, very cool, and that's obviously a lot of Song Division musicians that would have been in that world as well.
Tons of Song Division musicians.
Oh yeah, incredible. So that sort of comes back to what I was going to bring up with you, Katherine, which is a support network, which I think is a huge in the session musician world, especially in London with Bob, who's been on the podcast, and the musicians we use. It feels like a very close-knit community, not super competitive. But how has being part of asembl helped you as in not being an independent brand without that support network of incredible industry leaders and people just to lean on when times are tough, or when you lose that job, or celebrate the good times and share the bad times?
Yeah, I think it's been fantastic. I'm super lucky to have had this opportunity, which is great. But support network in terms of kind of like with marketing, getting VenuFindr out there has been amazing. So like our website, our newsletters, our socials, it's been incredible. I couldn't have done that without them. Like if I was on my own doing that all on my own would have been hard work. But I've got Leah, who's fantastic in marketing, to help me. And as well as that, within support as well, obviously I've got my amazing hotel partners and suppliers, which have been incredible. For example, I was at Coworth Park yesterday with some clients, which was fantastic. We had a great day of axe throwing and archery and a fantastic lunch and show around with Ricardo from the Dorchester collection. So we really lean on support from our suppliers to host these clients, and we come together. So we do that every couple of months, and that's just really helped really boost our clientele and our kind of VenuFindr client network, if you like, which has kind of grown organically, like Rue was saying about what you did at Ronnie Scott's. I was like, let's do these events. I'm going to do it. Let's do it. And we've done about 10 or 11 now, and I'm booked up for this year, and I'm doing it. I did it hotel side with fam trips, and I've organically done it on agency side. I know some agents do it, but actually not a lot. So we're kind of being disruptive in that kind of sense in terms of how we'll work with our clients and our partners. Yeah,
it's very cool. And I think we're all in the experience industry. So getting on a call and talking about what Song Division does, or Rue calling a manager and saying, hey, I'm a singer, or you saying, hey, check out this hotel, is never going to come close to, hey, come and hear me sing, or come to the hotel and we will take you axe throwing, or we'll do a cooking club. So I think we all understand the concept that people need to see and feel what we do, which is a double-edged sword, because sometimes you don't get that opportunity. And Song Division, we go through that every day, trying to explain what we do, and then a client comes to a showcase or sees it and goes, oh my God, that's what it is. That is cool. And it's not a singing competition. It's a collaborative, cooperative experience of coming together and connecting. Rue, I don't think I've ever asked you this. Was it just what happened naturally, or was there never a real interest in being Rue Savill? You know, as in you are Rue Savill, but as in, that original artist or act. So
I think initially, like I said, when I started working at this recording studio in Southampton, I was writing songs, and it was like, I guess, again, because that was all I knew what to do. I didn't backing vocal work. Just that wasn't a world that I knew anything to do with. It wasn't even something where I was like, I want to do that. It was like, that's such a far away alien thing. What can I do? And you can be in control of what you write and what you put out and things like that. So I did initially. I wanted to be an artist. I thought I wanted to be an artist. Now in hindsight, I don't know if I did. I think I just wanted to be able to sing and to perform, but that was the only way that I sort of knew how to, because you know, you're talking about network and things, and I didn't have that. Obviously, my family have always been incredibly supportive, but like, I'm not from a musical family. I had no musical education at all. I didn't live in London. You know, there was opportunities within reason in the New Forest and in Southampton, but you know, singing in a pub to a few New Forest ponies isn't isn't going to sort of be the thing that launches you. So when I first came, I thought I did want to do that. And the night at Ronnie's, where I ended up, the jam night came from, was me performing my original stuff. And there was a time when I had a couple of record labels that were sort of looking after me and putting me in a lot of sessions with a lot of other songwriters and stuff. And I think I very quickly became quite disillusioned with it and realised that wasn't for me. But there was lots of other things within the same industry that I did want to do and that I did really feel passionate about. And I still do write. I still write for sort of advert and TV and film and soundtrack and stuff like that. So I still have that creative part of me, and I write with other artists and things. But that became an amazing way of then still managing to meet a lot of people that I'm still in touch with now. There are now, you know, A&Rs that I met with when I, you know, 12 years ago when I sort of wanted to be an artist, that now they're putting me in vocal coaching sessions with young artists that they're signing for their label and stuff. So I think I think you said something. What did you say? How did you phrase it earlier, Katherine, about never burning bridges or something like that? Yeah. Exactly that. You know, I think there's so many relationships that you meet along the way, and in all of our professions, where you don't know how they're going to come into your life, but they will come back again in some way. So it's just always so important to I always say, like, when I'm sort of talking to young people about sort of tips and tricks on getting into the music industry, like, don't be late, don't be a dick, and learn your stuff. And I think if you do those three things, you'll maintain those relationships just by being trying not to be a not nice person, being reliable. And there's a lot of those relationships that have sort of come back around, which was quite nice.
I couldn't agree more. And actually, like, so I'm definitely one of those. I think we've got a lot in common, Roo. We should catch up.
The podcast works.
No, because I actually now, obviously, I don't do the venue finding as such anymore, but I've got a team, so I can train and teach them how to do things, what to do, be really nice to the suppliers and hoteliers, because you're working together to confirm business, you know. And I'm actually joined the Elevate mentoring program because I want to give back to younger people who want to come in this industry and kind of teach them how. And it's a wonderful industry to be in. You get to travel the world, go to these amazing venues, but you know how to do things properly so that you are looked upon, you know, when you go on fam trips, you know, turn up early, do your research, give thank yous, you know, be appreciative. So I think all that is great, and across any, you know, profession and industry as well.
Yeah, totally agree.
I couldn't agree more. I mean, this has all been way too positive. So let's talk failure and fuck ups. Has anyone? Well, I don't know who wants to start, but nightmare moment. Either a specific moment, maybe it's a venue that shut down a week before the event, or something like that, or maybe it's something that's happened on stage, Roo, or a more holistic period in your life where things just weren't clicking and the work wasn't coming in and you thought, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't know if I can do this anymore. And just how you dealt with that. And you know, obviously we know it's a good news story because we're all here, still here. But can either of you want to take the lead on that one?
Do you want to go first, Katherine?
Think of some examples. Yeah. So I think there's always sometimes as well. And as you know, Sam, as well, this industry can be very stressful, which is funny because we're not saving lives, as you know, and we have to sometimes remember that. But clients want things yesterday, and when you're working on multiple inquiries and things, and it just gets a lot, and you're working nonstop, that can be really hard. And you know, and like you said, like venues then were on hold and then they're not, and you got to find solutions. And I think you become very good at then finding solutions. And you know, don't go to a client with a problem, but say, look, you know, this has happened, but I've got this solution. You know, so always thinking ahead and what the solution can be. And there's always, and that's what I like about this industry as well. You know, the adrenaline rush, and then finding that solution. Then there always is a solution. You know, like we said, we wouldn't be here today if we didn't have those things. And you learn on your feet and being quick and thinking ahead, and you do learn that. And, being hotel side, it was fantastic. And what I learned was amazing. But, when you're emailing clients and picking up the phone and they just don't get a response, it can be very hard. And, and when inquiries or confirmation, they don't fall through, they cancel and things like that. And you've got targets to meet. And it can be really tough. And I think that's now what I've learned. I put into practice now what I do. I don't, always go back to hoteliers or suppliers and release things, let them know the outcome, and just be really honest and transparent with them. I never ghost people. I think it's horrendous. I think it's horrible. Agents shouldn't do that to hoteliers, and I've learned being on the other side, and that's how I'm different in my role now. But no specific examples, if you like, but just a few.
Well, lucky you. But I appreciate what you said though about, as a supplier, we're not a hotel, but as a supplier, it does still happen. Not as much anymore. The ghosting or the, hey, we need 1 million things from you tomorrow, and all that stress, and then don't hear from them for weeks, and and didn't end up presenting to the client. It's like, wow, it felt very urgent yesterday. So I appreciate that. And I think it's constantly getting better, but it is there. Rue, give us a nightmare on stage story, or how long? Give us something where, and I'm sure it wouldn't have been your fault, but
there's just a million. I mean, things just happen constantly, and like like what Katherine said, I think what's so important is that there's always a solution. There's always going to be something. It's always going to be all right, and that's something that I wish I knew sort of 12, 13 years ago, because I feel like there were some failures that happened when I was much younger, which felt so crushing at the time, where you get asked to do a big gig and then for whatever reason it doesn't happen last minute, or the budget gets pulled, or there's going to be a big house band for this big TV show and you think it's going to be that's going to be the thing.
That's the one.
And it's so funny because now I'm doing the thing every day. There is no thing. Like, the thing is that I'm getting to do this full time. That's the thing, Okay, big failures. Okay, like a week and a half ago in Australia, about to go on stage with the Streets, where we're doing a performance of Mike's second album, which is it's more than just doing backing vocals. It's a very interactive performance, sort of telling a story from. It's
a concept album.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm I'm a lead role in that. I'm the love interest in that. So it's not like you can just sort of, not that with backing vocals you're hiding in the background, but it's a bit like a musical. Yeah, you can get away with a bit more when you're just doing backing vocals. Like if something goes wrong with your mix or with your mic or something, it can sort of be handled and no one's really going to notice. When you're at the front, little less so. I am an incredibly clumsy person, like falling over, knocking things.
You and I are the two clumsiest people I know. I got a book at my finger. I mean,
the other day, I literally 2 days ago, I asked my other half to pass me the pepper grinder, and he handed it to me, and I somehow launched it across the room, and neither of us know how it happened. Anyway, I digress. I was about to go on stage to do this show in Australia, about 7,000 or 8,000 people there, and literally the last thing you do before you go on stage, you all put your in-ears in. You all stand around as a huddle, put your in-ears in, which are like your monitors, so you can sort of hear yourself and hear the backing, hear the music, so you can pitch, so you can know what's going on. And then you'll get our lovely musical director Ollie will go, just doing a track test for everyone. Can everyone hear me? And he'll play a little bit of track, and we go, yes. I put my ears in and I broke them, and I pulled them off on my hand, and that has never happened. And it's literally, this is about 2-3 minutes before we're going on stage, and I just looked at them in my hand. And I ran up to the monitor engineer, and he was like, how have you done this? And I was like, I will never know. We will never know. And he was like, I've never seen one break like this. Like, he's been doing this
looks like you've trampled on them in boots.
He was like, what did you do? And I was like, went to put them in my ears. So, there's on-the-spot problem solving is what can we do? I had some backup ones with me that we could use, but they fit slightly differently. It'll be a different sound. I mean, I say this was a case of sort of me having to learn on my feet. Unfortunately, it was our monitor engineer having to sort of sprint to his tool bag and put something together and fix them last minute. But that has happened to me before, where I've then had to wear generics on stage, which are like in-ear monitors that aren't molded to your ears, so you can't.
Well, basically like headphones.
Yeah, and you trust your muscle memory, you trust your instinct, and you get by.
And
but
Was this the same day that you fell over and cut your leg open, or was that a different
day?
This
was about a week after. Yeah, so day one in Australia, I went for a walk, and I immediately, within about 2 minutes of leaving my hotel, just like slipped and smashed my knee open. And then the day before my first ever gig with the Streets, I'd done like 2 weeks of rehearsal. I've been super nervous because they're about, Mike Skinner is an artist that I've cared deeply about since I was a teenager. And I decided when I got back from rehearsal to start sorting out my music room, because I had some stuff that I thought I could give to our good friend Tom Billington's charity. So I was like, I'm going to do that sorting out, feeling really good, ready for our first show tomorrow. And I fell down the stairs, which is the first time I've ever fallen down the stairs in my adult life, and I broke 2 of my toes. So my life is a constant string of clumsy failures, injuries, and things going wrong, and finding a solution. But there always is a solution. And
there is a
solution. In terms of sort of more failures with career rather than just being a clumsy idiot. Yeah, even like last year, there was a very big gig that I got asked to do, which I thought was going to be like, that's the thing, that's the one. And you get so focused on it, and then it got pulled at the last minute.
Yeah.
And it feels so heavy at the time. And then, now nearly a year later, you don't think about it. You don't think about those failures. Because there's always something else around the corner. And I do think everything happens for a reason. I'm sure you both agree, career-wise, when there have been things that have felt like such a crushing blow at the time, there's something where the stars have aligned later around the corner, and you're like, that's why that didn't happen. And it's always all right.
Yeah, you hope so. And you try and say that everything happens for a reason, but when you're in it, and it's so easy to tell other people, oh, come on, things will turn around, and I'm Mr. Positive. People, I think of myself as, incredibly positive, but when it's you in it, it's like, I just can't get a break right now, or I just can't get a win, or it's not as easy to do. We haven't got much longer. So, Katherine, or both of you, I just want to talk about work-life balance and specifically family. Rue and I, we're childless, but Katherine, you've got 3 kids, including 2 twins.
Mm-hmm.
These days, are you on the road a lot? What's your week, your work-life balance like, as far as how, day to day and week to week?
Yeah, so it varies. And actually, me and my husband have, because he's out.
Is he in events?
No, he's in the complete opposite end of the spectrum. So he's in telecommunications. So he's a service over. It's all about fibre optics, very cool stuff. Mm-hmm. He thinks my job's just a jolly constantly. But he gets to enjoy the perks as well. But yes, we do. I was at Coworth Park yesterday. So obviously we just have to make sure that our diaries align, because I've got a 7-year-old at school daughter, and I got twin boys who have just turned 4. Wow. So it can be hard work. So this morning, my routine was get up, go to CrossFit, come home, tidy the house, get the kids ready, take them to nursery, school, come back and start the day job. I don't do the school most mornings, which is great. But obviously it can be a juggle, but yeah. I love my job, and I want to see the world. I don't go away so often. I am going to Venice at the end of this week, actually.
Ooh, for work?
To M&I Lux.
Yep.
So it's a forum, not a fam trip. So obviously I meet lots of suppliers who are kind of in the luxury hotel world, which is lovely, and meet other buyers. But apart from that, going away to Portugal, May, and then also then September time. So I'm very specific about what I do attend now. We get inundated, honestly, where it's crazy.
I don't worry. I see the invites that Kitty gets to all kinds of trips.
And you could be out every day doing something, but obviously you'd get no work done. So we are very strategic about what we go to and why, and are we going to get anything from it, and for our clients. So I just have to be really specific about what I do. And actually, hotel side, it's harder because you've got to be on these fam trips. You've got to do these things when you're dealing with clients. So agency side, I have a lot more flexibility in terms of kind of that work-life balance. And this is probably why I have come back agency side as well. Not just because I love it, but it does work a lot easier in terms of when I have to travel. I can pick and choose, if you like, a bit more.
As opposed to being hotel side.
Yeah, I found the hotel side, and some of the hoteliers are fantastic. They travel the world on these sales calls. They go to all the industry events, like IMEX, IBTM, Convac, whatever. They can be out most of the time, Or if they're in London, for example, if they're at a hotel, they're on property most days.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I mean, I'm very lucky that I'm remote, but I do go in the office. It's around the corner, so it's lovely to see my team. But all my VenuFinders are remote. So I do have a support network of my VenuFinders, my partnership side. So they can go on these events, which is great. So I can extend my invites to my team so that we're all learning, but it doesn't have to be me that's there all the time, which is great.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. And then I guess, I assume it's just about teamwork as far as you and your partner, your husband go. It's and communication. Like, where am I going to be? Where are you going to be? Who's doing what this week?
Exactly. Because he's sometimes away for a few days, sometimes I am. So we're just making sure we're aligned and things. And it's working, and it's great that I've got that support, and my husband appreciates that I love my job and what I do, and I'm a full-time mum. I was part-time before, and then I had the twins, and I was like, no, I can't. It was easier being at work, and they needed to be at nursery more. They're very energetic boys, so nursery's great for them to be there.
Yeah, right. And Rooster, shout out to Tom, the legend Tom, and so Tom, your partner, he's a musician, guitar tech to the stars. Last time I saw him was in Vegas. He's Paul McCartney's guitar tech. He works with Dave Gilmour, Maribel State. So you're both, like, when do you ever see each other?
Not a great deal, and that's probably why it works. I've literally taken him to the airport this morning. He's gone.
Yeah, no, you two are very good at quality time, I imagine, as opposed to quantity. Like, you were in Bournemouth last week, and
we make sure that, like, last week I pretty much took a week off. I had a couple of little recording jobs to do, but I didn't take on any gigs so that we could just have a little bit of time, because I've been away for about a month. He's about to be away, then I'm away again. So sort of from next week, we're both kind of away until really end of August. Sort of, we'll catch each other, but we're both pretty full on. So we'll do things like just try and tie in little holidays with work. So he's away in New York in May for a couple of weeks. So I've taken a week off to go, and I'll just go and spend a week out there with him while he's working. He'll be working really hard, and I'll just be mincing around, eating nice food and drinking lots of coffee. We try and do things like that together. I think I learned, again, there's things that I feel like I wish I knew more when I was younger, which is that it's okay to say no to stuff.
Yeah.
I feel
I'm still working on that.
Yeah, me too. I think that's the same. I say that, but I'm my worst enemy with that as well. But I think I have got slightly better as I've got older, of just knowing that I need to have time on my own. And that even means for me time while I'm on tour, just having time to recuperate. Because I think as much as it's important to have work-life balance with your unit around you, for me it is just for myself as well. And sometimes when you're away, I'm sure you can both understand, when you're with just people all day every day, sometimes I just need some time just to be completely silent in a room and not speak to another human being. So it's also okay to say no sometimes to, we're all going out on a group dinner tonight, we're somewhere really fun, let's go and do this, and go, I'd really love to do that, but I'm going to pass. And actually, I'm probably just going to lie on my bed and watch Netflix and not say a word to a single human all evening, because need that as well. When we've got such sociable jobs and you're constantly just talking, it's such a high energy exchange all the time, that sometimes it's important for that balance to be able to just decompress and have that time for yourself.
Yeah, and something that we don't talk about really is that in the band, you're the only one that your instrument is inside you. Exactly. So there is an element of you can't party and rage probably as hard as a guitarist or a drummer, because if you're exhausted or cooked, you can't make that noise. But I imagine that your relationship with Tom is, even though there's that time management, is probably better than someone who's not in our world at all. Who's sitting at home sort of going, where are you now? What, waiting on you all the time. Yeah,
like, we're both very understanding and very supportive of each other's careers. Like, we're not going to be able to we'll do something within the industry forever, but ultimately we're not going to be doing our exact jobs forever, because, when I'm sort of a old fat cat lady and I'm going to be hired for too many like young pop artist tours. So, you've got to make hay while the sun shines. You've got to, these amazing opportunities come in, and of course you want to do them. It's good when it's good music with nice people. So we're better at saying no to some things, but then at the same time, when amazing opportunities present themselves, you'd be a fool to say no to them, and you just make it work. And you're like, you do that, I'll find a way to catch up with you. And having a shared calendar and stuff like that, of knowing where we are on different days and things like that. And like I said, just trying to find ways to go and see each other for a night or for a weekend. If one of us is just away in the UK and Europe, you just find a way to make it work, don't you?
Yeah. And also going back to the point of like saying no, but obviously when it's a good opportunity, you know, take it. And that's why I was saying being strategic about what you do and don't do now. I've had some great opportunities, and you know, hats off to you, Rue, singing in front of like thousands of people. I've started doing some talking and panels, and I put myself out there, and I'm like, oh, you know, it doesn't come natural really to me, but and now the opportunities are coming to me. C-Vent saying, we've got these talks, and I'm like, this is amazing, you know. But I had to put myself out there now, but now they're coming to me, and I'm kind of picking what I do and choose what to do and things, and thinking about what I get out of it and what opportunities really.
Yeah.
So,
but you both do, but you've got such a wealth of knowledge to share. And it's important that you are doing all those things, especially if it's something you want to push yourself to do and get out of your comfort zone. We're going to wrap it up, but just coming back onto Elevate, you mentioned, and mentoring, Katherine, and how amazing that is. And Rue, you know, you're always giving advice and helping other young singers out, getting them on jobs when you can't do them. You were a coach on The Voice and things like that. You know, sounds cliche, but what are you saying to that 20-something-year-old who's thinking of trying to make it as a musician, or someone who's, you know, wants to get into events, whether that's running their own business, Katherine, because it's a fickle industry. And if you don't love it, I tell to people, if you don't love events, get out, because you've got to love it. And same with performing, because of that stress, the hours and the rejection. But yeah, what are you both saying to that young person who's like, I don't, you know, I'm that who's got that fear of, should I make this leap or not? I'm not sure I can. Oh yeah, what do you say to those people?
I've actually got someone who's local, and she used to babysit for our boys, and she wanted to get into the industry, and I've kind of actually, she's got an opportunity now, which is fantastic. And she came round for a coffee one morning, and you know, I was just like, you know, if you want to, it's being realistic as well. Like, it's hard work, but you know, do it because you love it. And you know, if you love travel and you love being on your feet and doing things and doing 10 things at a time, then do it and go for it, and say yes to things at the beginning. You know, don't say no. When you're younger, you can say yes.
I agree.
But yeah, say yes to things and be keen and open and things like that. And I'm like, right, get on your LinkedIn, do this, do that. Really, like, that's a platform for us in this industry. You need to be on it, you know. So hints and tips like that, you know, I never had someone really helping me do that. So I love the fact that I can, and put all my passion into it, and kind of be a mentor. So when the Elevate mentor thing came up, I was like, actually, I would love to be a part of that and help. You know, everyone wants to be the project manager and things like that, but what about the venue sourcing? There's such a need for it now, and actually we're quite niche. There's not loads of us that have that passion. So really putting it out there of how fun it is and what you can get out of it, and yeah, it's just great.
Yeah, Rooster. What are you saying to young musicians other than don't do it?
No, we absolutely do it, but I would
do it.
The moment, you know, the hour on stage is such a small part of the full package. So to keep that in mind, that really the performance is...
Or the 7 minutes last Sunday on stage with Benson and Brian. Yeah, Rue and I got to do BVs for Benson Boone and Brian May. And obviously I did a big LinkedIn post and people were like, what was it like? It was amazing. I was like, well, we left London at midday and got back at 1:30 a.m. and we were on stage for 7 minutes.
Exactly.
But apart from that, it was awesome.
Exactly. The performance is obviously such an important part of it, but in many ways it's the least important part of it. I would say to young people that want to do it, that your preparation is so key, and that you could, you know, talent will only go so far. And I mean that in that sometimes most insane singers, and you're like, why aren't they doing more? And I feel like there always is a reason. There always is a reason, and talent will only open so many doors. You have to be prepared. You have to be punctual. You have to be personable. I'm not meaning to do all these P's. I can't think of any more.
The 3 P's. You could have your own TED talk, Rue.
I think those are such important things, and if people aren't prepared to do those and are only seeing the glamorous bit on the stage, it's not going to be for them, because there is so much more that goes into that moment. There is so much more preparation, and the main thing I would say, which again is one of those things that's so easy to say in hindsight, but never really try and remember that rejection isn't personal. And it really isn't in this industry. It's so easy to take everything as personally when you don't get something, or when you're in the mix for something, they pick someone else to go, oh, it's because I'm this, and this. It's like, no, it's not. There was just someone that was the right person for the job. Not better, not technically better. They just fitted in that box, and you fit in this box, and playing to your strengths and knowing who you are, because there is enough work for everyone. There really is. It is a tough industry, but I do think everyone's got a voice. Music is subjective. Everyone will have something different that they're looking for each job. And I think it's important to know what your strengths are and who you are, not just trying to fit into every box, because then you will constantly be sad about being rejected. It's like, you're from a classical world, Sam. I'm definitely not. If I put myself up for a classical job, I'd make an arse of myself, quite rightly. So you can't take things personally. It's because it's not personal. It's subjective, and it's just it's not a one size fits all. So if you stay sort of you know who you are and play to your strengths, no one can do that as well as you. So just doing that.
And if it was easy, like the old cliche, we'd all be doing it.
Yeah, exactly.
The hard bit is what separates the people who really want it, which is kind of the cool bit.
Exactly.
There's 1 in a million sort of make it on a TikTok video, but that's just not the reality. It's 10 years of hard work, overnight success, and that goes the same for events. If you, it'd be very easy to go, I don't have any work, or it's too hard. It's like, well, yeah, that's what separates us all. I think we're going to have to leave it there, guys. We didn't get to talk about all kinds of... I mean, I really want to talk about AI and what that's doing to both the worlds of venue sourcing and music. That's a whole nother episode.
Me right now.
Yeah. It's I was going to say hallucination. That's not right. What's it called? What do you call the... ABBA Voyage. I'm having a... Wow, we'll be cutting this. Yes. Hologram. Wow. You're a hologram, not a hallucination. You're both absolute legends. Thank you so much for your time. Katherine, Rue. Yeah, what can I say? I just really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having us, and meeting you, Rue. It's been a fantastic experience. Thanks so much, Sam.
Thank you both.
Sam and Katherine. I feel like we've got so much in common, and there were so many. It's amazing how closely linked our worlds really are. There were so many things that we said that I'm like, yes.
Yeah, it's true. And speaking of failure, we haven't even talked about Southampton.
Oh, how very good.
Sorry, that was a low blow at the end there, Rue.
Well, me and Katherine have got on awfully well, but she's Portsmouth.
Humpy girl.
So,
okay.
It's going to be tough.
Okay, we are definitely going to leave it there. Ladies, thank you so much for your time. I've thoroughly enjoyed this conversation. Everyone else, thank you for listening. This podcast is powered by Song Division. Help your leaders make their vision, values, purpose, strategy stick while connecting your people through group songwriting experiences. That's my shameless plug. I'll see you all next episode. Until then, stay safe, look after one another, and remember, life's better with music.
1, 2, 3, 4.
You piece of
Look, Mom, I'm failing. Look, Mom, I'm failing. Look, Mom, I'm failing. Hurry up and watch me fall.